there's a lot of concern, certainly overseas, about, I mean, the phrase that change is coming. Should we be concerned about the direction that the Philippines is about to take, or do you feel that the foundations are there, the economic foundations, the reforms you mentioned? Is the Philippines on a safe path, or is this a risky moment for the country?
Well, we still have to wait and see what the actual directions are. But I guess that's, in any election, there will always be candidates who will be saying change. But I'm sure our people will react negatively if that, I did ask in one campaign's stump speech, what does change represent? We had 4.6, or we have 4.6 million benefiting from the conditional cash transfer program. Does that mean we should change it to less, to eliminating the program? What does that actually mean? And that was not responded to during the campaigns. Now, what the substance of the change is.
We've become used to the Philippines as a stable country over the last few years, but of course, traditionally it hasn't always been stable. Do you feel that there's a risk that the country could be returning to that political instability, or do you think that the fundamentals are in place, that the country is now on a good trajectory and that the economy and politics will be sound?
Again, how the people engage the next administration is, I think, will be the key to that stability. If they continue to engage, then they are the greatest bulwark against any instability. If they are no longer engaged, if there is that apathy, then that will be when a problem is possible.
Mm-hmm. One thing about Duterte, of course, is that he's an outsider. He's not from Manila. Do you get a sense that there's a sort of fatigue amongst voters with the political system, with the so-called elite, and a new face coming from outside was just something that appealed to them?
Well, I'd like to think I'm not actually a Manila-based politician. I did start out my career in our province. Perhaps to a degree, I have a bias towards the provinces rather than Metro Manila. But having said that, again, we have to credit their campaign. The brand differentiation was very, very pronounced. And perhaps he really stood out and captured the imagination of the majority of our people.
And you mentioned the PPP program, which is now a strong pipeline of projects. Do you feel that that's another example where you've really given everything on a plate to your successor, but maybe didn't get the credit for that at the ballot box?
Probably, but getting credit has never been a priority for us. The way I looked at it, and I'd like to think the entire cabinet and those who have supported us, is do the right thing, regardless of who actually gets the benefit of it, but at the end of the day, ensure that the best interests of the people are met.
We have this bold promise that change is coming, but do you think that perhaps maybe not that much change is coming after all, that there'll be a lot of continuity, and those fundamentals which you've been working on will actually still be there?
Well, I'd like to think that a lot of the problems that we had to face have been eliminated. Hence, they're not only starting off from a higher plane, but a lot of the hindrances. I kept promising our people that as much as possible, I will not pass on to the next administration problems that were passed on to me. And we have tried to address everything that we could in the time that we had.
As you step aside and your successor comes in, based on your own experience, what sort of friendly advice would you give him? What's the key that he has to do, and for his first 100 days, say, that he has to get in place straight away?
And I'd say it's in our interest. We're all patriots. So it's in our interest to help you. And actually, I think I'm violating my own self-imposed rule that I will keep my mouth quiet at least for a year, because I'd like to afford him that which wasn't afforded to me, where I was nitpicked and criticized even before I stepped into office. And having said that, hopefully he will do all of the right things that makes it easy for people to support him. And so long as we're marching, in a sense, in that direction of really uplifting a lot of our people, why should there be any basis for conflict or disagreement?